Good evening, F&Gs and dirty VC bastards. Yarnu The Dog here. Today I'm going to show you how I play the United States Pointman class. Rising Storm 2 lets me play this guy in one of two ways. We can skulk around behind enemy lines and disable squad tunnels and be a constant annoyance for the bloody Vietnamese. In other words, you're a cheeky little prick. The other way, however, is utilising our close quarter weapons and gadgets to hold tight angles in and around objectives to ward off the enemy and detect enemy traps and explosives. Did you notice that red aura around that VC trap? Well, good, because this is the Pointman's special ability to detect enemy traps. Once in range, your character will not only call it out, but it will show up through walls and glow bright red. This is so that you can easily identify the threat and disable it before it fucks with either you or your team. A great point to mention is that playing as the Pointman, you're going to see certain trends with how VC like to place their traps. Something you may not have noticed playing the other classes. Having the detection ability, you're going to notice that traps seem to always go in the same places. This is trench works, entrances to buildings, corridors, stairs, essentially all the choke points. This is excellent training for you as a player, as you'll develop a sense for where Charlie likes to place his traps. Take a look at this next scene, okay? 1, 2, 3. And 4. Now, tell me, if you're in a hurry, are you going to notice this shit? Probably not. Then there is our killing potential with the Pointman. Now, to get right into things, don't use the shotguns. Too bloody unreliable. The M3 grease gun is the dog's pick. With 30 rounds in its magazine and very controllable recoil, this gun is a little beast. You need to make sure to do one thing though, and that is to fold the bloody stock. When you fold the stock, this gun becomes a CQB king, and you'll notice how much easier the gun is to shoot and aim. In fact, you can use it even further than what you would expect, as aiming down the barrel is much easier and less obstructive than aiming down the sights. However, there are times where you should be toggling between the two. When enemies are outside a particular range, maybe you can quickly swap and engage him. I did mention about the shotguns being unreliable, and let me expand on this for just one moment. The grease gun has better range, is fully automatic, not a pump action, and it can even one-shot at close range. So why take a shotgun when this can effectively stop Charlie in his tracks at close quarter ranges? And look, let's not forget, as the Pointman, this is where you operate. Pointman is all about the close quarter fight. I spend about 80% of every round flanking and harassing the enemy backlines. Fighting at the front lines simply won't do you much good, unless it's a tight close quarter environment. But let's be honest, the Vietnam era was full of assault rifles for both the South and North Vietnamese forces. So, when you bring an SMG to a fight, well, yeah, fuck you, Charlie. Yeah, not a fucking chance, eh? The grease gun's good. Very good. But it's simply the best the Pointman has. Many other guns in this game outclass it in many other ways, and that is why I always recommend to pillage and loot gear off the ground. The PPSH is my favourite little SMG in the game. It is the best SMG in the whole game, hands down. No one will even argue this with you. Scares the fuck out of them too. Have a look at this. This is me trying to pick someone at range with the grease gun. And this is me picking them with a PPSH. Oh! If you're constantly fighting your enemy positions, you will find plenty of guns to choose from on the ground. Just then, I passed a dead guy with an AK. As you can see, I've missed my shots. So I'm going to go ahead and take some initiative here and look to grab the AK off the floor. I said it before, guys, and I'll say it again. The Pointman's grease gun, yeah, it's good. It's a fun gun, but it's simply the best gun that he has. There are better guns out there, so don't be afraid to grab something off the ground if it's going to help you out. The great thing about swapping weapons is that despite what weapon you pick up, you are still a Pointman. You will retain your bomb and trap detection abilities. So all of a sudden, let's say you grab an assault rifle. You can now engage targets at range like the rest of your team, but you get a massive advantage as you can spot booby traps. Fucking nice, dude. The Pointman is also a tunnel rat. Oh shit, mine! As the battle rages above ground, the Pointman has the option to push through the VC tunnels. This is where Charlie will completely spam his traps, making you the best option the Americans have at clearing out this labyrinth. Armed with only your sidearm, you need to survive on wits and pure skill alone. Hang on, do you hear that? The tunnels are linear and you can always count on a few enemies to be camping them. And since you only have your M1911, you need to be very good with your trigger discipline. The great thing is that the M1911 can actually one-shot Charles in the tunnels. However, you only have a magazine of 7 rounds and 1 in the chamber. You also only come with 3 reserve magazines, so if you keep reloading, rest assured you will start to put in half-size mags. Remember that when you are in the tunnel, you are on their territory. This is both a good and a bad thing. Vietnamese sometimes just assume it's clear, as it's a rarity that Americans even venture down into the tunnels. If you, however, make a big enough presence, Charlie may just decide to run to the objective above ground, in which US commander abilities and your team's M16s will simply tear them apart. The bad is that it's their territory. The Vietnamese can use all their primaries in there, so if you run into a PPSH, you're fucked, son.
I just killed the guy with mine.
Now, moving on back out of the tunnel, we have the Claymores. Claymores are the most fun you can have with the Pointman. They are very much so underused and probably disregarded by the majority of players, but there is a lot of potential and fun to be had. Designed as a defensive weapon to cover an approach, the hard truth is that the game rarely lets you use it this way, as you have to simply babysit it for far too long. And if you have the detonator out, and yes, you must remotely detonate it, you can't even defend yourself. You just have the detonator out in one hand and no pistol in the other. So be careful when you decide to use the Claymore, because a lot of the time, you can just shoot the son of a bitch anyway.
If you're lucky, Charlie, I'll kill you, but Hire's gonna give me a med after I kill you, Charlie.
Now, I was saying earlier, much earlier, that look, when I'm playing the Pointman, I'm about flanking and getting behind the enemy lines. Now, one thing you're gonna find behind enemy lines are their squad tunnels. If you're constantly destroying squad tunnels, you are doing some serious work for your team. Poor Charlie has to actually run back from spawn from time to time, and we know how these Vietnamese like to play, just fucking zerg rushing the point from a squad tunnel. Now, what I really have fun doing is camping squad tunnels with a Claymore. Now, we all know we can just run up to a tunnel and destroy it with our use key, but Claymores have some serious range, bro, like serious range. It's much safer just to place a Claymore and watch from distance. And if you're quite the sadist like me, you can maybe wait for 1 or 2 guys to spawn and have a good time. Oh! Wait, what? Yep. Watch for friendly fire, and of course, put your own personal safety before a few Claymore kills. While we are talking about safety, we should consider the use of the Pointman's 2 smoke grenades. If you're attacking an open area, tossing smoke is always a good idea. I personally always like to leave at least 1 smoke handy should I need it to get out of a bind or cross an angle later in my life. And also, a very key point to note is that if you're not playing as a squad leader, you can just keep on respawning on your SL and tossing smoke and more smoke so that your team can get a very thick and dense wall of smoke to blind the enemy. And to bring this up again, remember that the Pointman is a close range fighter. Smoking and closing distance is what you want to be doing, because once you're in their face, you have the power. At range, you have none. And this is where I get angry. As the Pointman, you are constantly operating ahead of your team and behind enemy lines. You are a ripe fucking target for any FNG with a fully auto M16 who doesn't check his map and shoots first, asks questions later. You will get team killed, guys, a fuckload too. And to add insult to injury, your character model, if customized in a particular way, can look like a VC wank. Oh no, you killed your squad leader!
No.
So make your Pointman as American as possible. And obviously, do know that despite what you pick, you will still get dunked by FNGs. You can even decide to roll a black guy for additional camo, or you can play it real safe and grab a helmet and flak jacket combo. So, with all this in mind, thank you for coming out. Hope I've helped you with this information and that it serves you well. Have a good day.